Hey guys. Yeah, it's me. It's Ben. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the video. I got some pieces of foam, but funny story, you might notice these sheets are cut in half. I got very thin foam, and I'll explain a little more in a second why I got this thin foam, but I put it in the back of the truck, and obviously, you know, tailgate's up and the foam is sticking up, and I pull out of Lowe's and I'm not even going 25-30 miles an hour, and this foam, because it's thin, it's not really like super thick stuff, and it's very light, and the foam just starts bending and flapping all over the place. And so I think, okay, if I'm driving 25-30 miles an hour, whatever, and it's doing this, when I get 60-70 miles an hour, I'm not gonna have anything left by the time I get to the farm. So I pull over into some random apartment complex, and I end up pulling it out and cutting them in half so that I can fit them inside the bed and get away from that wind. But yeah, it was a little shaky there for a bit. All right, let's get this unloaded, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Hey, so you'll notice I threw the boards here, but my footers are still exposed. And really that's what, let me point to it, there you go. My footers are still exposed, but that's what I'm here for today, is I'm gonna backfill these. However, I'm thinking while it's exposed, I might as well just put, not a lot, just a thin, this is 1/2 inch styrofoam. It's probably like a R1, but I'm not interested necessarily in insulating. I'm more interested in just creating a thermal break, separating the cool soil from the concrete block, and in hopes that it's not going to bleed that temperature inside this space. Because remember, this isn't just a storage shed. The hope is that this thing's going to become a greenhouse at some point. So I might as well start doing some of that insulation work now. Let me show you a little bit of what I'm doing off screen to give you some idea of how I know when to cut. I just want to say, pro tip guys, whenever you are done using your string, oops, sunglasses, make sure you pull your string out of the ditch, because when you're laying the mason blocks, you know, sometimes you just splash random bits of mortar down in there. Sometimes that mortar lands on top of your string. Sometimes it dries rock hard. So I'm putting this down. I know that my finished grade is going to be right about to the bottom of this block here. So I just mark it. I make a little slice, and I do the same on the other side. And then I take it back and I keep cutting. Man, I've been out here all of 10 minutes and I am sweating. Humidity is like 200% right now. It's a little overcast, which is nice. At least the sun's not out, but this humidity is killing me. We've had rain for 2 days now, but I didn't even check the rain catchment because I'm positive that it's full, but we are done with concrete. We are done. At least for now. Most likely, probably. I hope so. Let me show you what we got. I used about a 4x4 piece to make it all the way across this long stretch here, which is good. That tells me I probably have enough to make it all the way around. The reason why this is stretching so far is, keep in mind, I only had to dig 12 inches down, plus, you know, an 8-inch footer. There really isn't a whole lot. It's only about 8 inches to the finished soil here. And then finished grade back there is a little bit more. It's probably closer to about 16 inches in the far back. Either way, I'm gonna go ahead and start backfilling with what I have, and then I'll just kind of do it one piece at a time, because the way these clouds are looking, I just don't know. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it in time. We're supposed to have even more rain tonight, but it's not supposed to come until later. Fingers crossed. And I really need to cut this grass. It's getting in the way. I'm pulling grass everywhere. It's growing into the footers. That's why I'm moving this dirt. I want to grade this out so that when I do finally bring the mower back out here, I can knock this stuff down and I'm not driving around big dirt mounds and stuff like that. I'm just going to show you briefly what I did. I'm going to finish this up and show you what this one wall will look like, because it's going to be the same for all of them, but it'll give you a good idea of what I'm doing out here, other than sweating my butt off. So I haven't completely backfilled it yet. I just put a little bit of dirt, just enough to pin the styrofoam up against the block, and then I'm going to backfill all the way. There's a lot more dirt down there, obviously, because I dug a lot more out, but that just gives me more dirt to backfill to hopefully get a relatively even grade here. And that's my hope, to just about or maybe completely cover this thermal break. Now, this foam, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not doing it necessarily for the R value. I'm doing it just to detach the block from the cold soil. I just recorded a whole speech, and then I realized I did not hit the record button. My overall hope is that I'm going to take all the concrete, this concrete mass that I have built with these stem walls, and I'm going to encapsulate that with the styrofoam, effectively putting this inside a cooler, right? It's basically a styrofoam cooler I'm building, and I'm putting all this stone inside of it. The idea is to use the concrete stem wall as part of the heat mass for this building. Remember, I'm hoping to make, if I can, in a perfect world, a 4-season greenhouse. If I get 2 seasons out of it, I'm pretty sure I can get 2 seasons out of it. If I get 3 seasons, that would be awesome. If I get 4 seasons, man, that would be perfect, right? So I'm gonna do everything I can while the ground is opened up, and that includes encapsulating the footers. These footers have 12 inches to the bottom. Here in North Carolina, zone 7B, or in eastern North Carolina, the frost line is only 6 inches. By code, you have to dig your footers down to 12 inches, and you need at least 6 to 8 inches of footer thickness, but the top of that footer is already below the frost line. And so that means that if I have these foam boards touching the footers on the bottom and coming up to the finished grade, and then I backfill to that, that styrofoam cuts down below the frost line already. So that means that all of that freezing cold temperature, now granted, the cold can still run through the footer and come up the other way, but that frozen, freezing cold, below 32 Fahrenheit kind of temperatures, or down in the 20s kind of temperatures, that should not make it through without having to fight through that styrofoam first. Which, if you've ever held a styrofoam cup in your hand, you know that ice cold water inside a little styrofoam cup feels like nothing. You don't even feel the cold. And that's just a thin little 1/8 inch styrofoam cup. So I'm hoping, you know, putting down some 1/2 inch, very thin styrofoam should be enough to at least give me that thermal break. Then I'll worry about the rest of the building when I get to it. Oh. I don't know if you heard my knees cracking. I'm getting too old for this. So you may have seen me shoveling on both sides. Keep in mind you need to have a minimum distance of footer thickness on both sides of your masonry wall. So I had to backfill on both sides. Luckily the wall was short and I didn't have to transport this material all the way through the door here to bring it in. So I guess that's it. I'm gonna keep cracking at this. Honestly, the way the heat is, I thought I was gonna finish with this whole building today. I'll be lucky if I get one more side done. This is brutal today. I don't know what the temperature is, but the clouds are gone, so the sun is out and it's still humid. All right, got something in my eye. So with that, I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all be good. I think that's how I end these. Outros are really hard, you know? You try to say one thing and show you at least what this one wall will look. Blah, 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 blah. I think it's the heat, but putting the dirt back is a lot harder than I thought it would be. It was cooler when I was digging these trenches. I can't even sit on my truck bed because it's too hot. Burns my butt.